Oh, yeah. Super ready.
We're
Well,
on, my friend. Thank you
yeah,
so
yeah.
much. It's the first time. It's always the best the first time. Welcome to Prescription Punk Rock, our Quebec radio show. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Who the hell are you, man?
Hello. I don't know who I am, but sometimes I used to be Jorge from Doctor Explosion. But yeah, I'm happy. The craziest day of my life, moving all my recording studio reel to reel tape collection from the old house of my parents till a small village in the middle of nowhere, half an hour ago from my town. But it's cool because it's for free. I don't have to pay for the storage, so it's great.
That's a good thing at the end, but yeah, it's a lot of stress to move out all the things, and those things worth it doesn't worth money for you. It's emotional. You don't want to lose anything. You don't want anything to be broken. So yeah, it's
I
a lot
know.
of stress.
Let me tell you a funny story about this. Okay,
Yeah.
first day, first day was Sunday. I started to move ahead and to think, okay, Jorge, it's time to start packing things because there's a lot of stuff going on and you have to move. So first impulse was to throw away things to the garbage. But I have toys from when I was young. So then I thought, wait a minute. Maybe I can sell them on Wallapop. It's a website. And I sold a lot of things in Wallapop. Like I got like maybe $300, $400 selling all that shit that I was going to throw away anyway. But this is the funny thing that in the end, I was looking through all the boxes of papers from the 90s, from tours that we did with Dr. Explosion through New Zealand, through Australia, through the States. And all of a sudden, and then, I thought, okay, I'm going to keep this, I'm not going to keep. And I found a folder I mean, in the folder, there was a lot of love letters from my girlfriend in the 90s, and I rescued the pictures and I thought, okay, all these letters to the garbage, to the garbage. I don't want to keep these letters anymore. And, my friend Luis Mayo, the one and only Luis Mayo, he is very famous all around the world sometimes. He's absolutely. He collects everything. And he knew I was moving my stuff. So he went to my garbage and he phoned me. I'm very offended because you throw away all these fancies and all these magazines. Why didn't you call me? I'm picking them up. And then I went with my friend Carlois to check what he was doing. And he handled it to go through the garbage cans and to get all my garbage back. And even the letters from my girlfriend. And then at some point, my friend was saying, I mean, the fans will want to know about the letters of your girlfriend. I said, no, what the fuck? This is personal. So, and I tried to rescue from his hands the letters of my girlfriend. And then my other friend at my back stole them from me, and then they were running with my letters and reading them in loud speaking, to everybody. And I said, motherfuckers, bring me the letters, give it to me. It was like when we were kids, It was very stupid and very funny.
It's a beautiful moment, and it's
And
cool.
in the end, I had to get the letters back to my house, and now they are storage with the tapes, all the letters. Fuck.
It's like you try to destroy them, but it's impossible. They're always gonna
It's
get back to
impossible.
you.
They're coming back.
This is funny. Like seeing on eBay, like letters from Dr. Explosion dude selling like $500. Like, yeah, I've got this letter he wrote like in the 90s to his girlfriend. I got that.
It's
Yeah,
so crazy.
I still have some in the back store. But yeah, that's crazy. Wow. I'm a
So
collector.
crazy.
I would maybe not, you know, I would not have thought of going into the garbage to pick them up, but I would surely have called you like if you want to get rid of that, I'm buying, man, like those toys and everything. People are making a lot of money from that now. When we were kids, we didn't figure out that it would worth a lot of money now, but it is.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I was going to throw it away anyway. So, you know, today my friend Oscar helped me to move all the things. Felix, the ex-bass player of Dr. Explosion, I borrow his van to do the move. And my friend Oscar helped me. And with the money of selling the toys, I invite him to a very good meal. We we had like T-bone steak, like everything, like seafood, like luxury.
Mm, that's so cool. And it's crazy. You took time for me in that crazy day of moving on. It's like, the hell are you doing talking to me?
And then there's one more thing. Tonight, my friend Rocío Mesa is, because this week is the Film Festival of Gijón, International
Oh,
Film Festival of Gijón.
oh,
And
cool.
my friend Rocío Mesa is presenting her movie today, and she invited me to the premiere. Rocío Mesa, she's the wife. Hoover 3, that man from LA.
Yes.
Rocío is the wife of Bert, the singer of Hoover 3.
It's a small world after all. That's crazy
It's a
too,
small
man.
world. She's a big fan of Dr. Explosion from even before moving to LA. So I know her from or since 2010 or something.
Oh,
And it's funny that now she's married with Bert, who was playing bass for Dr. Explosion in January when we were playing in LA. So it's crazy. It's a small world, all connected, right?
it's I used to study cinema, so I went to a lot of premiere, and I still love, watching tons of movies. But I love it's like the music. I love the underground thing.
Yeah, so cool. I mean, I love films, and Film Festival of Gijón is always amazing. There's a lot of international movies from all around the world coming, and parties every night. We play tomorrow in the film festival in
Oh,
the biggest rock and roll venue of Gijón. It's gonna be sold out, I think, because it was selling a lot of tickets. So I'm trying to find out what's going on with Oscar, my friend. He's running, uh, but I don't know what's going on. Okay, sorry.
no worries at all.
This is gonna be hilarious. Wait a minute, because now we found a taxi driver, because Felix lives in, as we say in Spanish, he lives in el culo del mundo, you know,
It's
which
my
means
friend.
far away,
I know
in the
Spanish.
ass, yeah, in the asshole of the world. And the taxi driver that is coming to pick us up has the Doctor Explosion new new album cover in the doors of the taxi. No kidding. Look,
And people have to figure it out, because in Quebec, a couple of people know the band, but they
ah,
were maybe not aware of the impact you have right now. You really conquer your country and put yourself
look,
in a situation where you're really
the
fronting
taxi.
the scene.
Look, you see, this is the taxi, and check the taxi doors.
This is crazy. This is one of the best interview I did for a long time, man. Thank you,
Wow.
George.
Thank you, man. It's been fun. Sorry for the light, because now we are inside of the taxi and there's no light.
Oh, no worries. It's just funny, man. It's a story happening in front of the listener ears, not eyes, because most of them will just hear the interview first. But for those who's watching from YouTube, the story is happening in front of you. But yeah, I was saying like Dr. Explosion has such an impact, you know, and everything is in place to conquer the whole world. I mean, you have great albums. The new stuff is amazing, but maybe for people in Quebec that not aware of that project, how that crazy idea started up many moons ago.
Yeah, I mean the beginning of the band, you mean, right? Yeah, well, I mean we were like kids, you know. We have this dream of forming a group, you know. Maybe the dream started in the early 80s, when all the explosion of 80s bands in Madrid and in Asturias, you know, bands like my friend Jorge from Ilegales, you know, Ilegales is a very famous band here in Gijón, but it's a very famous band in all the country and in all Latin America, you know, they are huge. And we became friends when I was 10 years old. I met him at the apartment of my brother Juan, who he is his age, you know, my friend Juan is 12 years older than me, and Jorge is like 14 years older than me. So he probably caused a big impact on me, because he's you know, he's pure rock and roll, man. This man, this guy. We became friends because we both were doing tin soldiers. You know, we
Okay.
were melting the tin, and you know, with molds and doing soldiers and painting them, and we were big fanatics of that. I mean, so that's why we became friends, and then you know, I discovered all these bands in the early 80s like Siniestro Total, Alaska y los Pegamoides, Gabinete Caligari, who else? The Ribosarias, you know, like punk bands, Polanski, El Ardor, Las Bulpes. I mean, Las Bulpes were a big scandal in the Spanish TV, because in a prime time for kids, they were singing "I'm a Bitch," you know. They were singing that song, and it was a big scandal. And I bought the single, and my father was in the army, you know, in the navy actually, and he threw away my single of Las Bulpes. Yeah, and nowadays it costs a fucking fortune, and that single can be like 500 euros, you know. Anyway, you know, I was, you know, going through all those bands in the early 80s. So, you know, all of a sudden I learned to play drums first, then I learned to play bass. Then I became a huge fan of the Beatles, the and the Kings. And then I wanted to form a garage band, you know. I love the Liars. I love the Chesterfield Kings. I love all those bands from the 80s. The Crips from Sweden, the Wild Mammoths, the Peebles compilations. And then we had this dream, you know, and then we started to rehearse, you know. I met Baro, the drummer. Then we met Felix a year later, and we started to play, you know. And then Jorge from Ilegales told me, you have to buy a Jazzmaster. And then was what I did. I bought a Fender Jazzmaster, and I bought Marshall from the 60s, and we started to practice, you know. And we built a set of 10 songs, including, you know, I love also the Flestons, which is crazy, but I went to Leon to see the Flestons for the first time in my life. And you know what? Next month, I'm going to play bass with the Flestons, because Kenny, poor guy, he has to get some surgery or something. So he's not going to be able to play bass. So Peter Zaremba called me and asked me if I could do it. I said, yeah. Well, what I didn't know is that I was going to had to move all my stuff, because I sold my house last week. So I didn't know this. when I told Peter that I could do it. And now my life is a complete craziness because of the presentation and promotion of my album, plus learning all the set from the Fleshtones, plus moving all my house, and all together is becoming like a nightmare, but it's a lot of fun. But coming back to the late 80s, we started to play, three of us, and we became a solid piece of rock and roll. My friend Jorge from Ilegales was teaching me some riffs and some things, with the guitar. I remember there was that collection called Liberty Bell from Texas bands, and he told me he teach me that song Nuts Are Blue from that band, and also from the what was the other name of that other band, the Bad Seeds, but
Oh
not
yeah.
the Bad Seeds that likes the indie guys, the other Bad Seeds from Texas. So yeah, through Jorge I discovered Blues Magoos, Remains, and many other bands. He was teaching me a lot of music. So got that influence from the early 80s Spanish bands and the 60s garage. And then what I was trying to do all these years is to find the formula to combine the lyrics influence in my mother language in Spanish to to tell my stories trying to get involved as deep as possible in my stories, and then with the influence of the 60s garage and trying to give like a new thing, with a modern vision, rescuing the past and all my influences. I don't know if I'm speaking good in English, because sometimes, I'm not, I'm not good, but I'm
Hey,
trying my best. I'm trying to speak up
I'm
my
I'm
best.
in I'm in the same spot as you, man. I'm French, so I still make a lot of mistake in English, but we completely understand what you're saying. You're good, and that's so cool. It's a cool story, It's cool to hear about the '80s scenes, from your country, because a lot of people felt that punk rock was, in the '80s, were from British and America, but it was everywhere. And the crazy thing now, and I think you live it with Dr. Explosion, is that people are more aware of those scenes and are more attracted, and they discover that and they fucking dig it. They love it. Punk rock is more stronger in foreign country now than it was in San Francisco, New York, the States, and of course for the British. I think I don't know
Yeah,
if you.
I agree. To me, I want to say that it's important that the important thing of the music, more than the music, is the stories behind the music, and the songs are telling stories, and you have to be true, Otherwise, if you just get the style to imitate a fake, then it's not worthy, I'm just trying to tell the truth in my stories and trying to give my point of view, in my language.
It's honest music, and I respect that. The first record was released, I think, in 1992. It's a huge step from the first record to now. Is it more easy to write and create music than it was when you started up because of the experience, or it's still a huge challenge?
No, to me it's easier now because I'm not following the cliches, I'm just trying to tell my own stories, as I told you. And that's why it's more easy, because now I'm self-secure of in the way I'm telling the things, the way I want to tell the things. Wait, I have to pay the taxi. Wait a minute. 1 second, please. Toma.
They call your time, George. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah. I'm done. I'm. It's good. I'm fine. All right. Hasta luego. Yeah, I'm out of the taxi now. Now I'm back in the center of the city. Vale, this is Oscar, my friend.
Hello, nice to meet
He
you.
helped me. He helped me to move all the tapes.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Oscar.
Tomorrow.
Vale.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Ciao. All right, now I'm all yours.
Thank you, George, for being, available and all yours to me. But that's so cool. I love the new records. I mean, there's a good vibe, and I'm looking for different things, maybe in punk rock, and that's what you offer. Something different, something like you said, honest, true. And we felt that through the records and the lyrics. And it's so cool. How's going to be the rest of the years for you guys? There's a lot of show. I know you're playing, like you said, at the cinema festival.
Yeah, we play that show tomorrow, and then Thursday, the band is going back to Madrid, because I mean I'm living this town, but the band is living in Madrid, so I'm gonna keep packing records in boxes. Is what I'm gonna do Thursday, but then Friday we play. Friday we play in Segovia in another festival called Inverfest. And then Saturday, 19th, we play in Zaragoza. Zaragoza is one of the biggest towns in this country. Is the fourth town. It's almost 1 million people living in Zaragoza. And it's always good to play there. It's a lot of people coming. That's gonna be next Saturday. And then I will be moving more stuff in the gap in between the two next Saturdays, because then Saturday 26, there's a very important festival in Seville. It's called Monkey Week, that festival. It's a kind of Spanish version of the South by Southwest.
Oh, cool.
It's for the Spanish industries, where all the managers and festival organizers meet in this town for a week, and they exchange all these, contacts and bands and things. So it's like all about business, but also bands play, and we're gonna play, and it's gonna be important. That's all for us. That's gonna be 26 Saturday, and then I'm gonna have to move more stuff, and then I'm gonna have to learn all the Fleshtones set. And then after that, we have another show in Victoria for the December the 17th. The
Cool.
Fleshtones is the 9th of December, then Victoria the 17th. And then, we are doing the promo. We are working in the idea of doing a documentary about Dr. Explosion, and with a filmmaker, very good filmmaker called Manuel Romo, and another important Spanish producer. His name is Tomás Cimadevilla. He produced a lot of films since the late 90s, like 20 years ago or more. One of the most successful films in Spain, like El Otro Lado de la Cama, part 1 and part 2, another one called Días de Fútbol, and many others. He produced more like 30 films, and he has a new company. He's producing series for Netflix and other companies, and we have this meeting with him to produce the documentary of Dr. Explosion. We have a very original idea that we developed, me and Manuel Romo, the director. I promise you guys, it's gonna be something totally different than any other documentary, because it's gonna be like, do you remember that film of Francois Truffaut called The American Night?
Yes. Yes.
So it's gonna be something like that.
Wow.
Do you remember that other film called It Happened Nearby Your House? That it was a serial killer who had a team doing a documentary about him. So it's gonna be also influenced by that movie.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
So it's gonna be a film of me trying to making a film about me. So it's gonna be twice twisted, you know.
It's so cool. You have such great ideas, and it's people gonna love it. And it's cool to see, another side, another vision of the band, another angle, if we want. And it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, because in the other hand, there's a lot of documentaries nowadays. So I think you have to give something new, a new angle. That's the interesting thing. And then in the year 2001, we were touring Italy, and we took like 2 cameras with us, and we were filming the whole tour, and we never did anything with those tapes. We did record it in mini DV, and I want to rescue all those tapes to bring them into this documentary, to create like a fiction. It's me trying to do a documentary about that tour, but the important thing is not gonna be the images of that tour. It's gonna be the story of me trying to bring the documentary alive, and the personal stories between me and Felix and all the ex-members of the band. We're not gonna have conversations. I mean, for instance, we're gonna go to the office of the producer, and we're gonna record the conversation with a hidden camera, because we want to be as part of the documentary as well,
Yeah, you're trying to create something, but let the flow go. Just show reality.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. and and Romo is a crazy motherfucker, He's Romo. He's filming one of the most famous and successful TV programs in Spain called Cuarto Milenio. That is all about paranormal things,
Oh,
and
cool.
he's doing the recreations of the stories of the ghosts, and the stories of spirits and houses and all that stuff, or serial killers or whatever. He's the one. He's directing all these recreations of the things that happen in the past of Spain. And he's really good. He's really good. I mean, in the stuff he's doing. So I think, I promise you guys, it's gonna be a good film. If it finally happened, that I hope it will. So, and then we're gonna release more singles as well this year. We did a version of Julio Iglesias.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's I am only using the lyrics of Julio Iglesias, presenting those lyrics into a punk rock context, and I think the lyrics, they're taking a different angle, under the different perspective of music, which is interesting. And I brought Ramon Arcusa, which is the guy who brought the songs for Julio, and he gave me autorización. He gave me like green light to use in and destroy the song, in my own style.
I'm sure it will be a great destruction, like a positive destruction or a reconstruction of something cool, and put it in punk rock world. With your talent, your crazy ideas, and your personality, it's gonna be really interesting. Like, with social media, it's a playground. You can release EPs, singles, cover songs. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It's crazy. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do a 45 7 inches for the Julio Iglesias song. I have the idea for the cover of using the face of Julio Iglesias as the Sex Pistols used "God Save the Queen," but I'm gonna say "God Save the King," and it's gonna be the face of Julio. But I'm gonna send it the cover to these friends of Julio. I'm gonna try to get approved by him before using it, because the
And
guy
and
is special.
and after
Yeah,
that, in a couple of months after the release, you're gonna have Julio Iglesias to play the songs with you guys on stage.
that I don't think that's gonna happen. But Ramon Arcusa and Manolo de la Calva, these two guys, they had this band called the Dynamic Duo. They are huge famous in Spain. They are in music since the mid 50s. They were in the late 50s. They were already doing movies and records, and they were like pop stars. And then they made a lot of money doing all the music for Julio Iglesias. So the songwriting, they split in three pieces. 33% Ramon Arcusa, Manolo de la Calva, and Julio Iglesias. So I have the proof of the 66% of them. And when I sent the song to Ramon Arcusa, he replied me, "Holy shit, what you did here, man. This is amazing." It was so funny. But
That's
anyway, I mean, these guys are huge famous in Spain. They are like the top of the music industry. I mean, Ramon Arcusa and Manolo de la Calva, El Dúo Dinámico, and of course, Julio Iglesias. So I think my point of view on Julio Iglesias music is to put it upside down. And I think it's a lot of fun, because the lyrics, to me, now they're bringing a new, I mean, I'm not changing the lyrics, but under the different point of view of the music, the lyrics became with a new significance, a new meaning.
Yeah, and when you put your identity to that, it changed everything. I mean, you don't have the same vision musically than him. And like you said, the lyrics with your personality have a new meaning. And it's cool that you play with that. And you understood that it's important in life to surround yourself with people that can help you and that you can help them too. And I think that's the strong thing about Dr. Explosions. You're surrounded with people that have talent and are driving like you to succeed around the world, and it's cool, man. It's not everyone who understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that you follow your own craziness, and you try to be the more honest possible, because in the end, I mean, we choose punk rock because we feel a little bit misfits, in this world, and we don't fit, sometimes in the regular or common things. That's why we choose to do the things in our own way. And this is what it's all about, is to create your own world and to follow your own craziness and your own ideas.
Amen, man. That's so true. It's so true, man. And it's logical, but it's tough to shut the brains off and just go for it. And I think that's what people have to do. Go for it. Live your dreams. Your crazy ideas have to be. It has to happen. You have to go like when you got those crazy thing in your head going out. Go for it, man.
Yeah, totally. It's what I'm trying to do, to be honest with my lyrics, to do crazy things because I enjoy to do crazy things. And then sometimes people understand it, and then they realize that is true, and then they like it. Some like it, some not, of course. But for instance, when you contact like top industry millionaire guys like Julio Iglesias or El Dúo Dinámico, and then they understand that what you're doing is respectful and is true and is honest, and then they like it, they dig it.
Dr. Explosion, we really hope to see you around Canada. Talking about crazy ID, that would be so rad to have you, of course, in Quebec and Canada.
Yeah, I mean, we've never been in Canada. I mean, it would be a dream. Would be a dream to go there. Yeah, I can wait. I mean, anytime. I mean, I would be ready to go. But first, I think we need to focus here in Spain a bit more, collect some money from festivals and things to pay the flights
Yeah,
to
because
Canada.
but bookers, we have a lot of festival in Canada. Bookers, write to them. Dr. Explosion is an amazing project, amazing human being, as you heard with that interview. And man, can't wait. How people can directly encourage you. I'm sure a lot of people listening to Prescription Punk Rock want to buy merch, the new album. What's the best way for the money to go directly in your pocket?
I mean, they can write me through my Instagram, or which is at Dr. Explosion. I mean, we used to we write it with DOCTOR, not
Yeah.
with the diminutive DR. We write it with all the letters. Dr. Explosion, and they can contact me also through Facebook, which is facebook.com/Dr. Explosion. And yeah, or they can write me to my recording studio, which is Jorge, like JORGE at circoperotti.com. And Circo Perotti spells CIRCOPERROTTI.com.
Nice. Nice. And we invite people, if you have a music budget, go help them out. That's the best way to get them here in Canada. And man, George, thank you so much for your time. I had a blast. I love the project. I'm a fan. And it was a huge honor, man, talking to you.
Hey, thank you, man. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And all you guys listening this punk rock radio, I mean, have a good one. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. And make sure I'm going to send all the details to Matthew when we air the interview. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. We're live in the studio, but we have the podcast available right after the show. So I'm going to send you the link to listen to the radio show live and, of course, have access to the podcast. We're going to make the interview available on our YouTube channel. So make sure I send all the details. And thank you so much for your time. I really had a blast.
Thank you, Eric. My pleasure.
Thank you, George. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.